gentlemen. As you can see, I redid my office yet again. Pulling up my notes. Today we are going to be talking about one of my new favorite devices known as the Apex Extender. But before I get into it, YouTube changed a few things around on the app, so please like and subscribe because it's not as apparent. Second, Patreon for text coaching, and then Peak Mel Physique. I have started hour-long phone call consultations. If you want to just pick my brain for an hour and do a knowledge transfer that way, by all means go ahead. It is not needed, obviously, but if you want to quickly learn and get up to speed, that might be a good option. Also, Leviathan Wellness Supplements are on Amazon. I think we're out of stock on our website, Leviathan Sups, but go ahead and check that out. They are formulated to be best bang for your buck on the market. So probably up your alley if you're into fitness and improvements in sexual performance. So let's get into it. Please tell me I'm recording. Yes. Okay, first disclaimer. Massive Novelties sent me both of these for free. This is the Frankenstender, the prototype version of the Apex. Okay. And I'll get into what changed and what really matters now. Me and the inventor hit off pretty well. Perv McSwerve is his Reddit username. I'm just going to call him Swerve because I don't like saying perv over and over again. So he is a soft tissue specialist by day and an elite power lifter. So in exchange for me critiquing his devices, I have been picking his brain to how to fix my lower back and deadlift. So I'm getting much more value out of this arrangement. But other than that, we're basically colleagues at this point. So there might be a little bit of bias when it comes to my review. However, if you look up the device on our Reddit, r/gettingbigger, you'll see it has glowing reviews to begin with. And many other veterans, experienced people in this industry, have nothing but good things to say about these devices. So let's continue. Oh, one other thing, just this more touchy-feely thing. I like to surround myself with people smarter than me because they will call me out on my bullshit and then question my findings. This is to lead to a better product, and so I'm constantly learning. Like with Hank, he is much better with supplements, so I defer to him basically the entire time, and then I will add in my own comments of my own findings, and then we come up with a better product. With Swerve, he is challenging my theory on soft tissues because that is his day job. So I can produce a much better theory at the end of the day with having an expert in the field come in and tell me, hey, you're missing this, or hey, look what I found. And then we can go back and forth and just make a better, well-rounded theory for all men in general. Anyway, let's talk about these devices. The Apex Extender is not a traditional extender. If you cannot tell by its size, I actually don't know how big it is. It is just under 14 inches. See if I can flip it around. Dupe. When extended. Okay, I doubt you can see that on the screen, but this thing is huge, all right? Foot long, ignore the Discord boop. More than a foot long. So you are not going to be hiding this down your pants unless you are like 7 feet tall, 300 pounds. But that does not change the fact it is probably more effective than any other device on the market. And this is for two reasons. One, constant tension. So as you progress throughout your workout, you will elongate, meaning that these springs will compress or decompress rather, and you just slowly climb up, keeping the tension constant. You would normally do this with gravity, however, with hanging, however, that's where this base comes in. This base keeps all that tension on the shaft. So what I noticed with hanging is that you can feel a bit of a pull coming into the pelvis. So those little muscles in your pelvis can eat some of that strain, and therefore you're not effectively applying all the weight to your penis. Second of all, This is a spreading force, not a pulling force. So that means it is pulling from two directions. So potentially 5 pounds of tension with an apex extender is like 10 pounds of tension with a traditional hanging setup. However, that is yet to be determined. Another thing that makes it much better than hanging is that it's mobile. You can walk around and basically use this wherever you want inside your house. So I have used it in my bedroom while reading before bed. I have used it at my desk while editing videos and answering clients, and on the couch, doing dishes, you name it. Not this device, the Frank extender. I just got this last week. This bad boy, I've made the most of my games this year with. I'll get more in that in a bit. This does not come with any attachment mechanisms, so you can use your existing equipment or whatever equipment you so desire. I'm assuming Massive Novelties will release cups in the next year or two. However, Swerve, Perv, whatever, does not really see a market need for it because the cheap eBay cups that I recommend are cheap and hard to beat on price, and he likes the Total Man cup system for the most part. So we already have two good options on the market. He's not really trying to compete. He is trying to innovate. So keep that in mind. You will need some form of attachment to your penis through the device. However, since this is just a hook, see, it doesn't matter what you use as long as it can attach to the hook. So this is male hanger approved, compression hanger approved. I know it works with the Size Master. I know it works with Total Man, LG hanger. With a little bit of work, you can probably work it with the Phallison Forte. I don't recommend it, but just play around with it, see what you can do. Now, these springs can go anywhere from half an ounce to 40 pounds of tension. So literally, it will be good enough for the vast majority of men. However, in my opinion, going above 20 pounds of tension in general is a bad idea. And me and Swerve were talking about this right beforehand, how it seems like using a bit less weight than what you can actually handle leads to better elongation because soft tissues like to contract under stress. So if you overstress them, you'll actually see a bit of contraction after your workouts. However, if you're in that sweet spot, you'll see better elongation. So I'll talk more about it in a bit when we're more sure about it. When you think about having 20-ish pounds of tension being pushed into your pelvis, it sounds quite uncomfortable. With the changes in the design, notice how much bigger this base is than, hold on. Notice how much bigger this base is than this base. That extra surface area helps a bunch. He also changed a few things around. So now your pubes are going to have a much harder time getting caught in the screws. And that's probably the most uncomfortable thing about extenders is pubes getting caught in the groove. And there's a U shape here so your ball sack doesn't get caught. And then it's easy on and off with this U shape. Now this was probably, I'm not going to say stolen, but inspired by the original Total Man extender 2.0. I don't know if it's the original. I don't really pay attention to products all that much. But anyway, another improvement on from the Franken extender. As you can see, this guy cannot stand up on its own. Apex can. So that makes straight out a little bit easier. However, I notice as I elongate, it'll start to droop a bit. However, since this is just a Phillips head, a cross screw, you can tighten it a bit and then you can have as much tension as you want here to keep it straight. Doesn't really matter at the end of the day. Tension is tension. Some of the main improvements from Frankenstender are first the thumb screws. So these are just kind of cheap. I don't know what exactly they are. I'm not the engineer, but these have knurled bits. These are typical thumb screws. So they're much easier to change on the fly. Springs are the same. The tips are not the same. So if you notice, this is more square. I don't know if you can tell from the distance. That's one difference. These are custom pieces. And then the punch outs for the rod are bigger, so that way you don't get any catching. This was the only real issue I've had with the Frankenstender, is that it would catch here. So I would have this weird tension issue. Then I would have to like pull it all the way down, release, and then hopefully it goes straight up the next time. However, I have not had this issue yet. Also, a lot of you guys won't need this much space, but if you're like over 8 inches, this is non-knurled. So that means you won't have any catching whatsoever the longer you get. Second, it's a unibody design, which just cheapens production costs, but that's not that big of a deal. It is still pretty moddable. So all you got to do is take off the screws and then take this off, and then you can add whatever you want to it if you need to. I don't really see the point, but they are going to be creating, Massive Novelties, a digital scale. I'm not sure if they're going to be selling it in a upgrade kit, but that way you know exactly how much tension you have on your penis at all times. Right now, you need to measure out the length of the springs. I don't have the numbers off the top of my head, but the shorter the springs get, the more the tension becomes, and it's exponential. So, or is it logarithmic? But you get what I'm saying. The more compressed the springs are, the higher and faster the tension increases. So keep that in mind. So, another thing, this is completely metal. Unlike other devices that are usually a mix of plastic, and the new Total Man extender is all plastic. So this will have a much better build quality, and it will last much longer than any other device on the market. This is aircraft aluminum, so the base rather, this is steel, aircraft aluminum down here. So it's lightweight metal, but it's going to be the strongest extender that you've probably ever used. My only issue, and I think they already fixed it, is that it's not all black. And now they're going to be doing black oxide bases. I don't know if they just did it because, or I said something, and Swerve got self-conscious, and now they have black oxide bases. No big deal. It's literally just the color of the device does not change the effectiveness of the device. So, let's see what else. Yeah. Now, you would think that this metal would be an issue because metal is more abrasive than, say, plastic. However, since it has a bit of grip on it already, it doesn't slide. That means you get no friction at the base, so you don't get tugs on your pubes, and you don't have it sliding up, causing the abrasion that you would typically get with a plastic extender. So it is more comfortable. However, even with like back-to-back sessions, you might want to put your underwear on first and then put the device on. That's just how I do it. It keeps your skin a little more fresh for those like month-long planned out grueling sessions, if you will. I have used variations of the Frankenstender and the Apex for 105 days at this point. In those 105 days, I've went from 8 inches to 8 7/16 inches. So in under 4 months, I've almost gained half an inch. Now, disclaimer, I caught COVID, and that fucked me up, and I lost a bit of size, and I probably gained back most of my lost size with the Apex. However, from my experience, I have not seen a device as effective as these two when it comes to time under tension. Yes, that is high praise coming from me. The closest thing that came to it is something called the Turbo Light Extender, and that is on eBay. It was the first high tension extender I used. It can only go up to 15 pounds. This goes up to 40, not that you need 40, and it's more like a traditional extender, so there's a good chance you'd be able to wear it under clothes. I don't believe in wearing devices outside of the house because then that just adds a point of failure, if you will. Also, with the Turbo Light Extender, it is pretty much known for its quality assurance issues. So I'll tell my clients to get one, and it'll come in with missing rods or missing vacuum cups or something like that. However, with this, I can almost guarantee you it is going to be flawless quality. I don't know the exact sizes, but this monstrosity can fit from 2 inches all the way to, let's see. No, this took a minute. I might have to let him know about that. So I noticed the closer I get to the top, it's not like any of you are going to have this issue unless you use like the male hanger. By the way, if you do use compression, they are going to be selling rods that you can add as extensions to add like 3 to 6 inches more space, because with male hangers you have that fabric, right, that you then connect your weights to. That's going to mess with the length you can reasonably handle. But again, you can get this thing as long as you want since it is modular. Anyway, so as is with a vacuum hanger, let's see, roller's the right way now. If we pull down the springs, let's say that's about 10 pounds of tension. You need about an inch. Swerve said 10.5, and just by guesstimating, I got 10.5 too. So this can fit from 2 to 10.5 inches. I don't know many of you that are actually going to proceed and try to get 10.5 inches, but it's there for you. And also, if you're just trying to, I guess, extend a horse, it's already possible. Just, again, I would assume all but maybe 100 of you will actually try to get that big, because unless you have money in the business like I do, there is no rational point to get over, say, 9 inches. Because otherwise you're just showing off. But anyway, so who is this device for? I would say this device is anyone serious about gaining length, but also has about 4 months of experience under the belt. And the only reason why I say you want to have some kind of experience under your belt is these springs are brutal. If you don't know what tension should feel like, you could easily hurt yourself. Because the device is so comfortable, you don't have the indicators with, like, say, abrasions at the base saying, hey, this is uncomfortable. And I've done this multiple times myself. I would crank this up to 20 pounds without even realizing it, because like there is no real indicator for pain because of how comfortable it is. So keep that in mind. Slow is, how does my book say it? It's smooth is fast, slow is smooth. My books say slow is smooth, smooth is fast. So that means take it slow and you'll still gain pretty quickly since you're smoothly going about it and not having to stop because of injury. That's the main reason why I cannot recommend this device to beginners as is. However, I already mentioned it, in about 2 to, I'm going to say 4 months, they'll be releasing a version called the Apex Pro, which will have a digital scale so you know how much tension you have on your penis at all times. Then I can comfortably recommend it for beginners. But in the meantime, just do your basic manuals routines that I have on r/gettingbigger and go from there. But this device, I don't want to say has revolutionized PE, but it has caused an evolve in my thought process with PE. I'm very excited to see what Massive Novelties produces next. I know they're doing a stealth version of this that's an all-day stretcher. Me and Swerve both have reservations with all-day stretchers because they don't create enough tension. However, this one will. So keep that in mind. Or not keep that in mind, but that's going to be on my radar as well. Probably not for another 6 months, I would assume. Okay. Yeah, that should cover it. Again, I really like the device. The only real issue is the price is $170 for just this. However, it's one of the few devices I can actually say is worth its money. If I did not get set these for free, I would have got it. Okay. Okay. Yeah. If you're looking for a way to make length easy, the Apex extender is probably your best bet. Just pick whatever connecting device you would like to go along with it, and your life will get easier. Also, before I go, I've seen significant improvements to my turkey neck, so now I look even longer than I actually did beforehand. So the turkey neck is the skin that connects your balls to your sack. If you had a tight circumcision, you might have a big one. This keeps your turkey neck down while it stretches the skin on the shaft. So it's a double whammy for me. All right, that's it. Like and subscribe if you like what I do. Peak Male Physique for consultations, no pressure. Patreon for text coaching, and if you just want to support me in general. Leviathan Wellness on Amazon and leviathansupps.com. This is BD signing off.